Replacing color in an image can be done in several ways. So I'm going to show you a couple of ways, and then I'm going to show you the way that I think is the most professional way in terms of flexibility. So if we just take this t-shirt and I go to the color replacement brush and I choose a color, I'm going to choose a really saturated red here, and up the top here, if I choose, let's say, the first option, hue, I'll leave the other settings and I paint on here, nothing happens because there's not really any colored pixels underneath to replace. If I go down to the jeans, it kind of adds a bit of red, but not much. If I switch to color and I start painting, you can see I'm getting more on the t-shirt, but not much. If I go to the jeans, you can see that it actually is replacing that color. I'm just going to undo that. So I'm going to make some selections here. So just object select, and I'm going to drag over the t-shirt. I also just need to go in here a bit, and with my quick selection tool and a small brush, I'm just going to make sure that I get everything. And let's see on this side as well. Okay, it's a pretty good selection. And then I'm going to lift that into its own layer. So Control or Command J. Now I'm going to select the, with Object Select as well, I'm going to select the jeans. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. I need to be on the original layer. Okay, and I'm going to Control or Command J as well. So I now have the t-shirt and the jeans on their own layers. Now, if I use the color replacement now with color on and I go to the jeans, you can see that I can replace those pretty effectively with a different color. Another way that I could do that is go to Image, Adjustment, Hue, Saturation, and I can change to Colorize, put the saturation up, and then change the color. Okay, so that's another way of doing it. It's not going to work very well with the t-shirt. So if I go to the t-shirt here and I choose color replace, you can see it doesn't do much. And if I go to hue, adjustment, hue, saturation, and put it on colorize, take the saturation up, still not giving me a great result. Okay, so those are two ways that you can change color. I'm going to undo so that I'm back to just the selection, just the separate layers. I'm going to name this jeans base and t-shirt base. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to desaturate both of them. In other words, remove the color but retain the dark and light pixels. So for jeans base, image, adjustments, desaturate. And for t-shirt base, image adjustment, desaturate. Doesn't look like much has happened, but at least we know there's no color in there now that can interfere with our new color. And now what I'm going to do is for this t-shirt, I'm going to press Control or Command and click on the thumbnail to load it as a selection. And then I'm going to add an adjustment layer for solid color. I'll put it on red and say OK. And I'll call that red. And then I'm going to change the blending mode to multiply. Okay, that gives me a much better result. And if I now duplicate that layer, hide the original, double click on the red, let's try a blue. And we'll call this blue. And duplicate again, hide the blue, let's change this to yellow. And call that yellow. Okay, so now I have a totally flexible solution where I can mix and match the different colors, very flexible. And let's do the jeans as well. So I'm going to take this t-shirt base with these three color options and I'm going to group them together and I'll call it t-shirt colors. And then I'm going to take the jeans base and Control or Command, click on the thumbnail to load it as a selection and add a solid color, and let's choose a teal change the blending mode to multiply. You could also try overlay. That also gives you a different, for darker colors like jeans, that works better. I'll call this teal. And then duplicate that. And let's try pink. And duplicate that. And let's try a golden color. Okay. And then I'm going to select all of those and group them and call it jeans colors. Okay, so now I have a totally flexible solution. I can adjust the jean colors, I can adjust the t-shirt colors, totally non-destructive, totally flexible, and my original image is still at the bottom here. All right, so that's, I think, the most professional and flexible way of changing colors, and this is something you would do for things like catalogs for apparel and stuff like that.